What's going on, guys? It's Nick at Talk and Review. So this review is going to be on Love, Death and Robots. So this is something that came on Netflix, and it wasn't something where I saw the trailer. I heard a few rumblings and I thought, let's just check this out. So what it is, it's 18 episodes of different types of animations and short stories. I'm not going to review all 18. Instead, I'm going to give you my top 5 from this series. So let's start with number 5 is Zima Blue. So the reason this one is my number 5, there wasn't a lot of heavy stuff on violence or sex in this short story. It was very, probably say, philosophical. So the story centers around a reclusive artist who's been around for decades, producing all these masterpieces, and he's obsessed with this shade of blue. Sounds like a boring story, but it's got a sort of human element to it and a really cool twist at the end. Okay, so number 4, this will be Suits. So this is a team of farmers who have all of these mech suits, and they're basically fighting off an alien invasion where they're coming through portals trying to take over, and these farmers are taking them down in these mech suits. What I really liked about this episode was, even though it's quite short in terms of time on the episode, you genuinely care for these characters, and it's really good how they managed to do that how they managed to do that in such a small space of time. And the animation in this episode is awesome. Number 3, this one is called Fish Night. And what you have in this one is 2 salesmen. They've broken down and they're in the desert, and basically they have to sleep over. And while they're there, they've obviously got a lot of time to think. And one of the salesmen talks about the land. He's having a look and seeing how beautiful this place is. And he starts talking about ghosts and talking about, if you've got human ghosts, why do you not have sea creatures or animal ghosts? And gets them talking a little bit, because where they were stood, that used to be so many feet underwater. So what happens is, when he's asleep in his car, he wakes up in the middle of the night and finds all of these ghosts of sea creatures that were there millions of years ago. And it sounds stupid, but the reason I put this where it is because of how beautiful the animation looked. It was very colourful, reminded me a little bit of Avatar, where he first goes into that forest and he's seeing lots of neon colours. Number 2, so this one is Shapeshifters. The reason I love this one is, when I was watching it, all I kept thinking was, I'd love to see this as a film. So basically the premise of this little short story is, you've got these 2 guys who essentially are werewolves, and they're employed by the army to help the soldiers sniff out the enemy with whatever senses or powers that they've got. The animation in this, whether it's motion cap or whether it is animation, is absolutely stunning. And I think throughout the episodes in this, probably say it's some of the best things I've ever seen on film. And what you've got in this episode is some really cool transformations into the werewolf, and that's what I really enjoyed, and that's the reason why I put it as my number 2. Okay, so my number 1, this one is 3 Robots. This was the episode that really got me wanting to watch the rest of this series. So it's based on these 3 individual robots are on a apocalyptic Earth where humans were. So they are exploring and basically seeing what the humans are about with the things that they're looking at. So what I really liked about this episode was, you've got a cool little nod to Terminator 2. So it starts off with a skull on the floor, and his foot just comes down and just crushes the skull. on the floor. So that was a nice little nod to one of my favourite films. So what really stands out in this episode is the chemistry between the robots and the humour that they're discussing amongst themselves. And it really stood out for me, made me laugh. The animation was absolutely gorgeous. Some of it you probably think, oh, this could pass for a PlayStation cutscene. I think what you get with this as well, because it's very adult themed, this is probably why I enjoyed it more, is because we probably haven't had a lot of these type of series or films, and it was pretty refreshing to see. So, is there any negatives to this? Yes, I'd probably say it's quite over sexualized. So if you're watching it with a partner or a female, they will probably think there's a lot of nudity going on in this, so it can probably put a few people off. And I'd probably say that's my only negative. Probably say an honourable mention would go to the episode of Good Hunting. I really enjoyed this one, and it was very different in terms of the animation, and I loved the setting. It was in the 1900s, based in China, and there was a good twist in it, so I'd probably say that as an honourable mention. Drop me a comment down below, what were some of your favourite episodes from this series. Hit that subscribe button, we've got lots of great reviews coming up. Check our playlist down below, we've got our movie reviews from 2019 back to 2018. Don't be alarmed if you start seeing some fragrance reviews, so we mix and match it, so we do some movie reviews and we also do some fragrance reviews as well. Hope you enjoyed this one, guys. We'll see you on the next review.